crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. With your morning horn of Z's, just sip of chaga coffee. Lots going on with the understanding of Veritaseum, what's going on with that. Reggie Middleton will be vindicated one day. He's not yet. Yes, the United States granted him the patent. I think it's part of a much larger picture as far as both the takedown of other cryptos that the SEC really wants to do, and going forward, how the crypto market will be controlled, bought and sold, whatever you want to say. Definitely the SEC is trying to get control of the crypto market. Gary Gensler obviously is an expert, one of the leading experts in the world on cryptocurrencies, but he comes from a regulatory slant. And that regulatory slant is not only, it has the guise of, I'm going to help the less knowledgeable people understand what this stuff is, but also the control of the monetary system. That was on full display when he was head of the CFTC. He oversaw the JP Morgan rigging of the markets. Bart Shelton even admitted, hey, ultimately why they didn't bust JP Morgan until Trump got in, why they didn't bust him was because it was a political decision. And Gary Gensler was the head of that division. So basically, Bart Shelton said Gary Gensler is 100% political. So there you have it. And you can see that in who he's supported in the past with the Clintons and all that. So I don't know where Gensler will play his games, but we will find out. Now, what I want to talk to you about and bring up and kind of flush out a little bit is this discussion that Reggie Middleton had with Crypto Blood. Crypto Blood and I go way back. We've been friends and foes for a long time. I like him. I do like him. I don't think he does his homework sometimes. I did not like his support of what Brock Pierce was doing. I still don't like it. But hey, it's crypto. I disagree with everybody at times, and I agree with people at times, just like everybody else. Me and Bitcoin and Ben have gone round and around. I don't think there's anybody in the crypto sphere who hasn't had a beef with someone with what someone had said, either about them or a difference of opinion or anything like that. So take it as you will. Reggie Middleton and Crypto Blood sat down. They tried to, smooth out some differences in the past, which is great. I mean, I did not with everybody. I don't think Crypto Blood did his homework on Veritaseum. I never thought he did, or otherwise he wouldn't have disliked it so much in the past. But at the same time, again, CB's getting the word out. He really understands the racism part of what went on or what is going on with Veritaseum, and he has a unique perspective on that I will never have. But I agree with him 100%. I don't think my country is racist. I think there are huge numbers of racist people, and definitely within the financial markets, there are people who are extremely racist. And you might not think that comes into play until you read the filing they did against Reggie Middleton and Veritaseum. I think the whole thing was racist. Even the wording they said when they were describing who Reggie Middleton was, I was appalled at our SEC for what they did and how they did it. So be that as it may, really interesting, good information. Reggie tries to explain what Veritaseum is to CB, and CB, he really doesn't get it throughout the whole interview. What he should have done is read the white paper, and I don't think he did. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the questions he had. If you do read the white paper, by the way, here it is. It's not a white paper. It's printed on white paper. It's his patent, which is even better than a white paper because it's enforceable. This is an enforceable patent on all peer-to-peer crypto transactions. Peer-to-peer capital transactions. It's not like if I give you Bitcoin, Reggie's going to get a stake of that. No, it's peer-to-peer capital transactions where cryptos are used to just like on DeFi to lend money to NFT transactions. When you create, here's my take, is when you create the NFT, that's not a peer-to-peer transaction covered under Reggie Middleton's patent. When you put that up for sale on an exchange, that is a peer-to-peer transaction covered under Reggie Middleton's patent. So any exchange that is doing NFT buys and sells should be talking to Reggie, because Reggie had the patent on that in 2014 is when he applied for the patent. It finally got approved because of what the U.S. government wanted to do. They wanted to prolong this game as long as possible. So Reggie's patent will cover, in my video the other day, I said 99% of what's going on in crypto, which is probably true. Again, it's peer-to-peer transfer of capital. So when you create an NFT, that's not covered under Reggie Middleton's patent. When you go onto an exchange to buy and sell it, that is covered. If you use a crypto exchange, that is covered under Reggie Middleton's patent. Let me read you what the patent, the abstract says. I mean, it's 42 pages, a lot of technical stuff, a lot of things I don't understand. And, I've been in cryptos for a long time. And when it gets into the deep math of crypto stuff, like, you read the Bitcoin white paper, I understand the concept. I don't understand all the math and all exactly how that does. It's the same with Reggie's. Brilliant, brilliant paper. Devices, systems, and methods. So remember, this is 2014, before Ethereum, before the Lightning Network, before crypto exchanges, before DeFi, before all that stuff. Maybe not before crypto exchanges. But, Mt. Gox didn't get a patent on that technology. Devices, systems, and methods enabling parties with little or no trust in each other to enter into and enforce value transfer agreements, conditioned on input from other participation of a third party over arbitrary distances without special technical knowledge of the underlying transfer mechanism or mechanisms, optionally affording participation of third-party mediators, substitution of transfers and transferees, term substitution, revision, and reformation, etc. Such value transfers can occur reliably without involving costly third-party intermediaries who traditionally may otherwise be required, and without traditional exposure to counterparty risk. That's the summary, and it goes into great detail, giving examples of what the type of things, and he describes DeFi, he describes the Lightning Network. He didn't name it that stuff because, who would know? He invented it before everybody, else got some time to start implementing it. They didn't invent it, they just implemented Reggie's idea. And he has the patent for it, which was granted way too late. Had the U.S. government not stopped Reggie, it would be obvious to everybody that Reggie had implemented this, because everybody would be using his technology. Reggie had invented it. Everybody would be using his technology today. Now it's made it kind of a pain in the ass for him, but all the earnings of DeFi and any entities using that network is utilizing Reggie's IP. So even down to the individual buying Ethereum on Coinbase. Coinbase uses Reggie's technology. There is no doubt. And I think that's, Gary Gensler is going to use that against, part of the shakedown of cryptos coming up. By the way, I have a full timeline post for private road members of how I think this will go down over the next few months. So listen to the discussion. Reggie tries to educate CB. CB really pretty much doesn't get it. That's all right. Not everybody can get this stuff, and he'll get it more as it's implemented. When you see every single Ethereum transaction having, requiring a little bit of Veritaseum to do that transaction, because that is the invention. It is being transferred over. Peer-to-peer capital markets. How's it going to be done? Well, Ethereum is pretty easy. You go to core Ethereum, the core devs of Ethereum, and you say, okay, you're going to have to implement this. And it's required to have some Veritaseum to do this, or, it's not really clear how the Veritaseum token will be used yet, although Reggie's saying, probably be a discounted, a discount off what Reggie's going to charge personally for each transaction. Can it be done? Absolutely. Now, I think the U.S. government is going to come clean and rightfully give Reggie back his 98 million Veritaseum tokens. And that would and let him, with that patent in hand, he could use those tokens to veritize the world. And when I talked with Cliff High and Reggie and Jean-Claude, that's what I was saying. Everything's going to be veritized because Reggie invented it. I mean, it's like Reggie said long ago, it was the keys to the internet. Same thing in the early 1990s that he invented, the keys to crypto capital transactions. And it even says it all throughout the patent, and the patent is very well done, extremely well done. And Reggie even said it wasn't just him that did it. He had the idea, but to write a patent, it's very complicated, and the mathematics in how these transactions are going to work and things like that are high level type stuff. So I recommend everybody read the patent and then look at your portfolio and ask yourself how many of these cryptocurrencies are subject to Reggie Middleton's discovery, his invention of peer-to-peer capital markets. And like I said, it's like 99%. As far as you theta lovers, and I'm still a theta lover, I think theta will be fine as far as theta and the transfer of the edge nodes and all that, because it's its own blockchain. You're not attaching peer-to-peer stuff. It's you and the edge node. But you go on an exchange, the exchange who's making a hell of a lot of money by exchanging cash for, not cash, but different cryptos for theta or things like that. Yeah, that's absolutely subject to the Reggie patent. And Reggie's has the intellectual property patent, which means he should get a cut of everything. Every time Veritaseum is used in that type of transaction. It's going to get a little squirrely. My advice to Theta and the Theta Labs team is to go to Reggie and strike up a deal if there is a spot that deals need to be made, which, for example, the decentralized exchanges that they're working on, and the exchanges of NFTs, selling of NFTs. It's again, I don't think the creation of NFTs falls under Reggie's patent, but definitely the exchanges of NFTs like in T-Drop. I really think that the Theta Labs guys should say, oh my God, talk to your lawyers, talk to your patent lawyers and say what in this environment is covered under Reggie's patent that was granted. And it's 2014, long before Theta was even a concept. So, yeah, absolutely. And obviously things like Ethereum, who could build their business on Ethereum without, that's to me is the clearest example. Reggie seems to think the Lightning Network is the clearest example, which might be, but Ethereum was built to do exactly what Reggie's patent is saying. So yeah, I think Ethereum, the core devs need to get with Reggie and say, okay, let's work together. I think the people who come forward the first, the soonest and don't fight it, will get the good deals. Maybe even you don't have to pay me for the past use of it if you promise to pay me for forward use. That type of thing. I'm not trying to negotiate with Reggie. Maybe a lump sum payment of the amount that Reggie thinks is appropriate for using his invention. I know it's getting complicated. Who said cryptos were going to be easy, my friends? Nobody. What's Veritaseum doing? It's kind of all over the board. What is it right now? Let's see. Do a refresh. It changes 172. It's been, it ranges like it'll go up 50% one day and down 50% the other. I do believe that Cliff High's data will come true in the next couple months that Veritaseum will hit the price of Bitcoin, which is, right now it's 50,000 or surpass the price of Bitcoin. Because Veritaseum is much more important for our future than Bitcoin ever will be. So there. If you're trying to get it, the only place I know of that's fairly easy to get is on Mercatox, mercatox.com. But I absolutely am not endorsing anything that Mercatox does. Sometimes they're late to deliver, and you can put $10,000 into Veritaseum and jack the price up 25% because the liquidity in that market is so thin. People are trying to hang on to their very tokens. They're not going to be putting them out there. So, $100,000 would probably double the price of Veri overnight or on one trade. And anybody trying to sell off their very saying, "Oh my God, it went up, 10x. I'm going to sell it." You're not thinking about how widespread Veritaseum will be in the crypto world for our future, and how important it is that invention of peer-to-peer capital markets was for Reggie and his foresight into what the future would bring. And there's a subsequent takedown of him by our criminal regulators. It was horrific. And I've been screaming about it for a long, long time. I've done a lot of Jenny Moonstone readings. We just did one posted on the private road. And those of you who are into tarot, and I know a lot of people aren't, but what is it? The saying is, millionaires don't believe in psychics and tarot readings, but billionaires do. And it's absolutely true with my experience with Jenny. But listen to what she had to say I asked her about the patent and what this means for Reggie himself, not the token. I asked about that later. You can go on the private road and check that out. But what is it? Is there vindication for Reggie? Check out the first card that jumped out.
What is the question specifically?
The question will be, will Reggie Middleton be vindicated for they really tore him down? Will he be rebuilt in the eyes of the public?
Reggie Middleton. So this is a predictive. We have someone wanting to pop out. I wonder who this is. Oh, the star.
Is that the star?
It's the star.
Oh, if there's any card in the deck there's no other card I love more than the star.
This is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite. My eldest son, who does not know anything about tarot, the last time we were hanging out at my family's house, it was like we were all together. We never get the whole family together. And he just turned to me and he's like, my favorite tarot card is the star. And I was like, what are you talking about? He probably just watches me and try to freak me out.
Well, I want to tell everybody also, those of you who have read my paper on the Economist magazine, the tarot cards on the front of the Economist magazine, the very last card in the cards that they showed was the star card leaning forward.
Yes, it was tilted. It was tilted. It was off center. I can't remember if it was tilted to the left or to the right. Which we should probably. It was tilted to the right. That's what we want. We don't really want it tilted to the left because we know that symbolism. Not that left is bad, but you know how it goes. It's just symbolism. So let's get a little bit more here. Clarify the star for whether or not Reggie is going to get his vindication. Is that the word? Validation.
Vindication. Okay. Will he rise in the eyes?
It's going to get corrected. So the star is a fabulous indicator. Collaboration and teamwork, and then the lovers. So So he is absolutely going to be accepted, and more so, this feels to me like he's more than willing to work with people. Like there's nothing here that even indicates that he is in such a mindset that he's going to be salty or put walls up. He was waiting for this, is what it feels like to me. So now I'm going to use the new deck that I made.
I'm so excited.
Just this morning, actually, I was like, I need more. You know what I mean? Yep. I was like, let's get it. Okay. So he is going to allow people he's going to work with people because he knows it takes a team at this point.
Well, Cliff's data says the government comes to him and says, help us fix the problem we have.
Military law enforcement, get out.
It's big, man. It's big.
Wait, hold on. Oh my God, my palms are sweaty because this is the intervention card. Okay. The 17.
So that's just a taste of, and Jenny doesn't know anything about Veritaseum at all. She's extremely good at tarot reading and she has these abilities. I can't explain them. Dick Allgeier has it in remote viewing. Jenny has it in tarot and runes or whatever those called runes. I can't explain how they do it or what happens. There's some psychic connection to the universe. And that's what I always felt with Reggie and Veritaseum. This is so much bigger than cryptos. I mean, I've been fighting my whole life to end the criminality in capital markets. The JP Morgans of the world, the Goldman Sachses of the world, the Deutsche Banks of the world, the banking cabal, the Queen of England, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. All that gets sunk into our capital markets and destroys value. And Reggie explains it so clearly when he talks about peer-to-peer transaction. It's the closest thing we can possibly think of to actual barter. There's no third party in there raping and stealing. It is peer-to-peer transactions, and that's what his invention covered and the patent covers. So yes, if you want to be involved in cryptos, unless you just want to hang on to, Litecoin as a means of exchange, or Bitcoin as a store of value, maybe. If it's on the Lightning Network, that's a different deal. Then Lightning Labs is going to have to talk to Reggie and anybody who uses that technology, which would be anybody using exchanges. You are benefiting from Reggie's technology, and everybody should be paying into that, and everybody will. Probably at the kind of behind the scenes level, like with every Ethereum transaction, there'll be attached to it a Veritaseum token that people would need to get. Not a full token, probably a millionth of a token or whatever it is that Reggie decides on each specific agreement that he makes with the crypto. Well, it didn't have to be this complicated. I mean, it's the government that made it this complicated. The government that stopped Reggie from doing what he was doing. When he was working with the government and they were in on the transactions, the government, the SEC, went behind his back to, for example, the Jamaican Stock Exchange and says, don't you dare deal with Reggie Middleton. After Reggie invited the SEC in to see what he was doing, explaining to him, this is a software. It is not a security. I am selling a prepaid software license, and here's what the software does. And it's all in the patent. And they were too criminal or too racist, the people dealing in this, or the people telling what the SEC what to do, to make it an easier transition. It could have been much easier. Everybody could be using and benefiting from the Veritaseum protocol today. Now it's just going to be a little harder because people are going to be, what do you mean I got to buy some Veri to do a Ethereum transaction? What do you mean I got to buy some Veri to do a Lightning Network transaction? Well, there you go. Anyway, again, Veritaseum on fire, doing well. Let's talk about silver, and the OCC report came out. Ted Butler, bravo on his latest analysis of, I watch the quarterly reports, so does Ted, from the Office of Comptroller Currencies. They have a stat in there on precious metals, not counting gold anymore, so it's easier to decipher what's silver and what's not. I would say 95% of what's in the precious metals is actually silver derivatives. And it is clear, and the criminals at the CFTC should be seeing exactly what is reported, that our friends over at Bank of America added 8 billion, no, was it 10 or 8? This will be good. So this is June. Okay, so it's 8 billion. As of September 31st, Bank of America added $8 billion worth of silver derivatives. Silver derivatives, which is, I think it's at 25. It's, I don't have my calculator with me. It's a hell of a lot of ounces. Like more ounces that they have on the COMEX in any of the warehouses. The criminality has changed from just JP Morgan being the criminal market rigger to a couple banks. Goldman Sachs, they just have a little bit of silver. Now, these are not COMEX derivatives. These are OCC derivatives, over-the-counter derivatives. Derivatives upon derivatives upon derivatives. Bank of America, we just saw them make massive deliveries in December of leased silver. That's the game now. The game has changed from just JP Morgan to JP Morgan's customers leasing silver to Bank of America to basically make a double or triple short. Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the United States of America, and they're trading for their own account. Where is the Federal Reserve watchdog? The Federal Reserve is in charge of watchdogging their banks to make sure that there's going to be no too big to fail issues. Bank of America, make no mistake about it, is a too big to fail bank, and now they're trading in $8 billion in silver derivatives. Are you kidding me? In one quarter? A total silver derivative position of $18 billion? No wonder Rustin Benham said, oh my God, we had to tamp down the price. Why? Because Bank of America would go down. Citibank would go down. Goldman would go down. JP Morgan would miss out on making double the money by leasing their silver and would be caught up in a bankruptcy. This is the criminality. Jenny told us this a year ago, that they're going to change their methods. They're going to change the way that they rig the silver market. It is no longer JP Morgan playing the silver derivative game and then soaking up all the physical silver on the side because the price is so low. That change was JP Morgan's customers, which is basically JP Morgan orchestrating the whole thing, and banks like Bank of America. Let's pass it on to them. It could be that the criminals are loading up one single bank for default of that bank and say, oh, it was just Bank of America that had a problem. So we might see the end of Bank of America very soon. And it's much easier to bail out one too big to fail bank than it would be 4 or 5 or 6. So right now, Bank of America has well over, Ted Butler's saying they've leased over 500 million ounces of physical silver. For what? What are they doing with it other than to suppress the price? And why would the regulators allow such a dangerous position with there's no economic viability or reasoning to lease 500 million ounces of physical silver? No justification whatsoever. According to the SEC or the CFTC, the Hunt brothers, when they took out 100 million ounces, not 500 million, 100 million ounces, that was way too much. That was insane. They were cornering the market. But now we have Bank of America leasing from friends of JP Morgan 500 million ounces, according to Ted Butler. Go to Butler Research and sign up for that. Brilliant guy. I mean, it's insane. It could be that Bank of America is going to be the fall guy for the silver manipulation. Will silver go to $600? Absolutely. Will it go to $6,000? Absolutely. In a freely traded market. I fully believe and expect when this thing shakes out after the insane crash and chaos, that silver will be valued more. 1 ounce of silver will be worth more than 1 ounce of gold. For 2 reasons. Number one, silver is number one industrial conductor of electricity, vital in all parts of industry and especially in the high-tech future. That should be obvious to everybody. But number 2, there's massive amounts of gold. There's 10 times the amount of gold they tell you there is. If you're sitting there with gold in your hands, congratulations, you'll double or triple your money. If you swap that gold for silver, you're talking 100 times what it's worth today. Just because of the obvious fundamentals. Everybody's forgotten about fundamentals. All they look at is price. So look at price. 80 to 1, 80 ounces of silver for just 1 ounce of gold. Go to your local coin shop today. It's probably not open. It's Sunday. Tomorrow, Monday, before the year's out, get yourself, swap the gold, and get as much silver as you can. That's the take on the road to Ruta. Anyway, that's where we are. I know it's kind of crazy. I have posted the timeline. It is the first video on the private road right here. And the world's changing. And if you're on the road to Ruta, you're in the right place. Get yourself some physical silver, get yourself some Veritaseum, get yourself some Litecoin, and get yourself a lot of Theta and a lot of Theta fuel. And don't unstake your Theta because you're going to get T-drop. And of course, Reggie, hey, guys over at Theta Labs, you better get in touch with Reggie Middleton about what is covered in his patent. Because peer-to-peer transfer of value, not of value, of capital, peer-to-peer transfers. So NFT brokerages, selling NFTs. Peer-to-peer, selling them for cash is probably fine. I think that's what the T-drop is all about. But on exchanges, that's a different deal. So go check it out. I don't know the answer. But you guys over at Theta Labs, you're smart guys. You should really look into what part of your business would be covered under the Reggie Middleton intellectual property patent. All right, that's all I got for you. This is Bix Weir, roadtour.com. I'll talk to you later.